When I was a little girl, I used to wake up to the smell of buttery batter baking in the morning. Sometimes it would be scones, sometimes just plain toast. Don't get me wrong, I love toast. And sometimes it would be my favourite, crumpets. My poor boyfriend, who's been in quarantine with me for the past months, has not heard me shut up about these bloody crumpets. What the hell are these bloody crumpets? And then I realised that I don't think Brazil has anything similar to it, so I couldn't think of a better time for sharing this recipe. And it's really easy, it's honestly delicious. I'm really rusty, I think that's good enough for an intro. Let's just go straight into the recipe. So first things first, we need to warm up our liquid. I highly recommend using nut milk. If you're not vegan, you can for sure go with regular milk, even though I do recommend the nut milk. It just tastes much nicer. Since I don't really have the habit of drinking milk, I don't really buy nut milk, I don't feel the need to replace it. It definitely won't affect the recipe if you just use water. I used water and it was fine. So it's completely up to you. You want to heat up your water just warm to the touch, and you don't want your water too hot because then your yeast won't activate. As soon as you bring that water to temperature, you want to stir in some sugar and add in your dry active yeast. Stir it all in and leave it aside for 10 minutes. In the meantime, we can prepare our dry ingredients. Measure out your flour, stir in a pinch of salt, and then add a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. Now I know it sounds like a lot of yeast going in and having yeast and baking powder added to a batter, but we really want this batter to be really nice and foamy and airy. So just trust me, it's fine. After the 10 minutes are up, you can check on your water. It will be very foamy and that's exactly what you want. Add it into your dry ingredients and then you want to whisk. What we're looking for is a kind of thick milkshake kind of texture, and as soon as you hit that, stop, leave it alone. Waiting for batter to rise or dough to rise is just unbearable, but bear with me, it will be worth it. Just distract yourself. Watch some telly, do some exercise, have a shower. Now the time is really up to the weather. In Sao Paulo it's been really sad and cold, so it actually took me 2 hours for the batter to be ready. If it's warmer where you live, it might take from 40 minutes to about an hour, so it's a bit quicker, but my honest recommendation is that you pop it in the fridge overnight and just wake up and cook them fresh crumpets for breakfast. Really recommend that one. But if you don't want to do the overnight thing, I'd recommend you check it every 30 minutes, and it will be very clear once it's done because it will be really bubbly and nearly double in size. Now all that's left to do is cook them. Every other recipe I saw on YouTube, people recommend using like those egg rings, like those circular molds. If you have them, you have them. I'm not leaving my house to buy circular molds that I'm gonna use once to make crumpets, and then I'm gonna say sod that, can't be asked, and then I'm gonna spoon them in anyway. So, but you know, it's up to you guys. So once we have our pan heated up from medium to high heat, we're gonna put some butter in, wait for it to melt a bit, and then you can spoon your batter in. Now do this very gently because you don't want to knock the air out of the rest of the batter, or what's going to happen is you have really fluffy crumpets when you begin making them and then by the end they're a bit sad. You can make these as big and as small as you like. I once saw a video of Gordon Ramsay making a huge, like, giant plate-sized crumpet. I wasn't really practical here. I just used the amount from a tablespoon. The way crumpets cook are very similar to American pancakes, so you kind of can tell from the edges if they start to lift up a bit, you know that they're ready to be flipped. And do this very carefully because that top bit, if you notice, will be full of holes, and that's the whole point of the crumpets. The best bit of it is that whatever you put on top, jam, butter, whatever really, will sink into the bread, and that's what makes it so moist and delicious to eat. So try to turn it carefully. That batter is still going to be very raw and runny, so you don't want to mess with it. Flip it and leave it. After about 2 or 3 minutes, they will be ready. You can brew yourself a cup of tea, grab your jam, grab your crumpets, and that's it. I really hope you guys give this a try. If you do, send me pictures because I would love to see what you guys come up with. And yeah. Thank you for watching. Talk to you guys next week. Bye!